Hello viewer, a warm welcome to Elimu TV where you progressively watch and learn. I am your teacher, Madam Abigail Rachel, and today we are going to be talking about interpretation of landforms. In the previous lesson, we also looked at other features of landforms, so just to preview what we looked about, and we looked about the types of slopes. If you can remember what a slope is, so we'll just look back at what we learned in the last lesson, how to identify these types of slopes on topographical maps. So we looked at a gentle slope, and we said that in a gentle slope, the contour lines are evenly spaced in between them, and these contour lines have a difference of 20 meters in between them. Next to the contour lines that you are seeing on the left side of this image is a diagram of a gentle slope, and we see that in this diagram the gradient of this slope is even. There are no some dents in this image. So this is an image of a gentle slope, and you will be able to detect it on a topographical maps when you see the contour lines are evenly spaced in between them. Another slope that we looked at is the steep slope. And in the steep slope, we said that these steep slopes, the contour lines in between them, they are close together to each other. So they are together to each other, and it will transform to an image as you have on the right side. This is the black image labeled A and B, and we will be able to see that the slope is represented as steep as this. So this is the way to detect a steep slope on a topographical map. Another slope is the uneven slope. As the name suggests, uneven, that means it is not regular. So on a topographical map, it is always defined by some of the contour lines being close to each other as some of the contour lines being wide apart from each other. When you look at the image on our left, from G to H, where you have the 100 meter, the first two contour lines, the first contour line is close to the other, while the next two, they are wide apart. So this shows that it is unevenly spaced. And when you look to the image on the right side, it will result to this kind of image. This slope will not be regular, it is not gentle, so it is irregular slope. For our today's lesson, we will begin with a valley. And a valley, you all know what a valley is, so we will progressively continue to learn how to identify features on topographical maps with the use of the contour lines. So for a valley, we see that a valley is a low area between higher grounds. This is higher grounds. The grounds on the opposite sides are high, and in the middle part of it is a low area. So it is indicated by a U-shaped contour lines which are pointing towards a higher ground. U-shaped contour lines. So you have to note how to detect a valley. You look at if the contour lines are U-shaped and they are pointing towards a higher ground. This is an image of a valley, and the contour lines will just exactly be like this image is. They'll be moving from one higher ground as they go to a low area and move to the further area that is higher. So in the middle part, this is what is called the U-shaped, and it's called the valley. If you are asked to detect a valley on a topographical maps, you look at the contour lines. That is the image on the left, where you have A and B, and you have a line crossing in between. This is the river. So the contour lines move from one higher ground as they go lower and move to the other side on a higher ground. So the difference between each contour line is always 20 meters. So this is the way you are able to know that this is a valley. And in most cases, in between valleys, we normally have a river passing in between valleys. Our next image is a spur. So what is a spur? And a spur is a land which is projected from high to low ground. That is a land that is being, when you look at this land, it moves from high to a low ground, and it is normally indicated by U-shaped contours. Don't confuse this to be a contour of a valley, but you can also, we will see how these contours form in order to know if this is a spur or if this is a valley. We have an image of a spur below the topic, and these contour lines, we have said that they are indicated in a U-shaped form. So when you look, the difference between a valley and a spur is that we have two rivers crossing in between them. So that is the main difference between a valley and a spur. When you look at the contour lines, then you see a line that shows a river, you will know this automatically, it is a spur. So when you look to the image on the right side, and you are able to know how these contours are formed. They form a spur. That is, when you see the two lines on the contour lines crossing in between, they form rivers, you will know that this is a spur. Moving on to the interlocking spurs. And so the interlocking spurs, this is just a projection of the spur. So spurs appears to fit together. So for the interlocking spurs, they fit together. That is like when you take your fingers and put in between them, and you see that they fit exactly the same. So this is just the same with the interlocking spurs. They fit in between together. Keeping in mind on how to find a spur on a topographical map. So for the interlocking spurs, we have many contour lines forming the same shape, and for these contour lines, they move almost in the same shape, though they stretch long enough to show that these spurs are interlocking at the same point. So this is the image of an interlocking spur on a contour line, on a topographical map. A truncated spur, this is also a projection of a spur. So a spur, there are different types of spurs. That is a interlocking spur and a truncated spur. So for the truncated spur, it is glaciated in highlands whose tips have been eroded and straightened. So we see that on this image below, we have, when you look at the slopes of these highlands, they have been steepened at some point. Some of the slopes stretch being almost of the same. They are even. That is, they do not bend at the lines of the contour lines. So you will know that this is a truncated spur. Moving on to the conical hills. And in these conical hills, they are mostly in the uplands which rise above slightly. So there are uplands which just rise above slightly. They are small, rounded hills. On topographical maps, they are presented by contour lines that form a circle. Look at the image on the left from A to B, where you have the center of this image, that is the small circle. The small circle shows the top part of the hill, while it stretches out to the outside. So they are normally in circular shaped. That's why it's called a conical hill. Progressively, this is also an image of a conical hill. You look at this image, it's very beautiful. It can also be a source of tourism where people go and people go there to take pictures and also relax. So this is an image of a conical hill in real life. Looking at an irregular shaped hill. So irregular, from the types of slopes, we'll say that an irregular, it is likely to have an even steep slopes. So an irregular shaped hill, This is a hill with some sides with uneven, steep slopes. Look at the image below. So we see that one side of the slope, that is on the left hand side of this slope, the slope is even. When you look on the right hand side, this slope is uneven because you have dense rocks. So we can say that this slope is uneven on the right hand side. On a topographical map, an irregular shape is represented by contour lines which form a circle, and one side of the contour lines is like one side of the contour lines will come together. That is, the coming together of these contour lines shows that it is a steep slope. While on the other side, that is on the part labeled B from the center, this side we have the contour lines being widely spaced. So this is the side that is going to have the gentle slope, with the opposite part, that is A from the center, this where the contour lines are close together, and we'll say that this is a steep slope. So this is an image on the right that shows an irregular shaped hill. Another landform on topographical maps is a watershed. So we will look on how to find a watershed on a topographical map. And these are boundaries separating drainage system which drains into different directions. So a watershed, if you are asked to define a watershed, you say that these are boundaries separating drainage systems which drain into different directions. And mostly escarpments and ridges often form watersheds. So what forms watersheds? These are the escarpments and ridges. How to detect watershed on a topographical maps? You will look at the topographical map and you look at different drainage system where you have the contour lines, and the contour lines in between you have the lines. These arrows show that these are rivers. They are going to drain at different directions. So if you see our contour lines labeled the same way that you have our image here, you will be able to know that this is our watershed. Escarpments. So an escarpment, we looked at that in the landforms, that is geography form 2. And an escarpment is a relatively continuous line of steep slopes facing the same directions. And it normally has two slopes, one long gentle slope and another short steep slope. So to detect an image of an escarpment, this is what we look at the topographical map. You will look at the contour lines. How are these contour lines shaped? Where you have the contour lines that seem to be close to each other, you will know that this is the steep slope. Then where you have them far wide apart, you know that this is the gentle slope. And we have said that an escarpment has two slopes, that is a steep slope and a gentle slope. So this is what it will result to in real life, where you have the picture on the right side, an image of a steep slope and the other side having a gentle long slope. So we have come to the end of our lesson for today. Progressively find a topographical map in your school, in any library. Try to find out some of these landforms that we have looked at today and in our previous lesson. If you still have difficulties, you can as well contact us. I'll give you the contacts after I've finished. So for our assignment, find a topographical map and find the following features: interlocking spurs, escarpment, conical hills. So thank you for watching and listening to Elimu TV. Give us feedback on Twitter, that is at Elimu_KE, and Facebook at Elimu TV. Thank you.